Hey. Welcome to another episode of Love Misunderstood. I'm your host, Nicole Pacheco. Alongside here with my co-host, Nigel Kettle, the life help coach and an author. Also, we have our millennials here, Lanasha Prescott and Janae Days. Thank you for coming. Now, today's episode is self-love. How loving yourself can positively impact your relationships with others. Take a minute and think about it. Do you love yourself? And if so, or if not, how do you or how do you not? This is going to probably be an episode that you want to watch to see if you do or if you don't, and how you can do it in a positive way. So, Nigel, what do you think about this episode here? What can you teach us about self-love?
Self-love is actually about recognizing and appreciating yourself. Self-love is about self-value.
Self-love is self-value. Gotcha.
It's because that's basically what it is about, the value that you place upon yourself. If you value yourself, you will love yourself.
All right. Lanasha, you're hearing about self-love. What do you think about that?
So completely agree with what Nigel just said. It is valuing yourself, right? And it's not just only respecting and valuing yourself. It's in all different aspects, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And it's so deep within, to the point where like you don't care about what other people think about you. And it's not just something you develop overnight. It is constantly being worked on. You're constantly loving on yourself. You never stop loving your parents, right? You never stop loving the people that you care about. And you also like need to make sure you put that love into yourself as well. So it's a constant, everyday activity where you are putting yourself first, making sure that you are being taken care of, and not really caring or focus on what other people think about you.
Interesting. Janae, what do you think about self-love?
When I think about self-love, I think about protecting your peace. So if you value self-love, if you have self-love, it's easier to say no to certain things, making sure you're not being taken advantage, like walking away from like harmful like comments, walking away like unscathed, because you have that self-love, you have that confidence, and you can express yourself, and you don't actually care what people think, like Lanasha just mentioned.
Interesting. Nigel, I'm over here thinking about that, and the first thing that came to mind is this new word that I've learned in my 40s. It's a B word. You ready? Boundaries. Creating boundaries is a healthy way to show yourself that you do love yourself, and not in a negative way per se, but more of I will or will not tolerate ... What do you think about that stuff, about boundaries and self-love?
So when you say boundaries, are you talking about the boundaries that you place on yourself, or the boundaries that you put up for other people?
Well, like I said, it's my new favorite B word. So I'm learning that there are differences between boundaries within myself and boundaries that I would have on other people upon me, like what I will and will not accept. So can you break that down, the boundaries that a person would have within themselves and the boundaries they would have upon others?
Before I go to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of cultivating self-love, because a lot of people, if you ask them if they love themselves, they'll say yes.
Right.
Right. But if you really pay attention to what they do, then beneath that facade, what you find is this deep insecurity. And it's usually, insecurity about their looks, about, their position in life, or things like that. It's kind of funny. Most people actually do have deep insecurities about some physical feature, whether it's their hands, whether it's their legs, whether it's their face. And so self-love is about cultivating a mental state of mind that actually, brings you to the point where you can appreciate yourself, your features. And it's not easy because, I once had a friend that was very insecure because he had, in school they used to make fun of him because his head was a little bit on the bigger side.
Okay.
Right. Now, and he was actually a really nice guy that lots of, women found attractive because but he carried this deep insecurity about his, the size of his head, which, to us, it was maybe a slightly bigger than the typical head, but nothing that raised a red flag.
Okay.
And it didn't detract from his, attractive features. But that was one of the things that he found, and he just couldn't bring himself to appreciate himself, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
And when you talk to people, you find that people have all these insecurities.
Yeah.
That, and they approach life, with these at the forefront. Like I have a female friend that she claimed that her feet are too big. And, she talks about it constantly. She'll say, oh, me and my big feet, stuff like that. And these are little ways to like really put yourself down. And these are the things that actually sneaks in the back of your mind and comes to the forefront when you meet somebody, because, the first thing that pops up is your insecurity. Oh, they're going to see my head. They're going to see my skinny legs. They're going to see my face,
Right.
Or, my teeth, stuff like that. So we approach things from the perspective where we are kind of like bringing this attitude, this kind of like diminished self into this relationship or into our potential partners. So, self-love is actually being aware of those things and making a conscious effort to overcome these things. Like, and it starts with things like, for example, like, affirmations that say, well, let me hear from the millennials on this.
Go ahead, Lanasha. What do you think about what he was talking about?
I'm agreeing with everything that Nigel's saying. As I was mentioning earlier, and Nigel was saying just now, it's something that you have to constantly work on because it's so easy to talk down on yourself, or it's so easy to see all of the negative attributes about yourself, and you can just fall into that trap of having that negative mindset. And so that's why self-love is it's a constant battle. It's an exercise, like a daily exercise, like the same way how you want to maintain your upper body strength. Like you have to do push-ups every day. You have to work out those upper body muscles. If you decide one week, all right, like I'll just do like 1 day push-ups and the rest of the days like I don't feel like doing it, you're gonna diminish that muscle group, right? It's not going to be as strong as it was a couple days ago. So completely agree, as I said, with what Nigel was saying.
All right, what about you, Janae?
Yeah, definitely. At the end part, Nigel mentioned affirmations, and that's literally a topic that's popular along with like the word manifestation in my generation or overall. So with this affirmations, I wanted to get into like specific practices that we can do for self-love. And I wanted to ask what you guys do. I'm gonna begin. I remember like I used to like look at myself in the mirror every day and say, oh wow, I'm beautiful. Oh wow, I'm beautiful. Like sort of like positive affirmations to throw at yourself to sort of like identify like, oh wow, like this is who I am a very attractive person, sort of like to boost your confidence. And there's also self practices such as like just taking care of your nails, taking care of your hair, going out and having a spa day, going out with your girlfriends, like just basically having a fun day to yourself, or even just going on a solo date with yourself, like going to the movies by yourself, just to actually sit with yourself, sit with your mind, sit with your thoughts, and sort of like just like being well overall.
I agree. I'm learning how to, being single, I was married for so long. And then now that I'm single, I love what you just finished saying, Janae, because I'm doing those self dates with myself. Like I'll take a whole day and it's hair and nails and, a massage and a spa and just having some tea and just relaxing. When I'm done with that, go to my backyard and just enjoying grounding myself and putting my feet in the grass, literally taking my shoes off and just putting my feet in the grass and just trying to ground myself. There's so much anger and hate out there that I just want to ground myself and everything else. But to continue with what Janae was saying, daily affirmations are very important. And it seems like everybody's into, it's like the thing of affirmations and manifestation. Do you have any thoughts or ideas towards affirmations or manifesting or anything like that when it comes to relationships?
It's like Janae touched upon, and Lanasha, is you have to constantly be telling yourself that you were beautiful, right? You have to be aware of this negative energy that comes up. And every time it comes up where you start thinking something negative about yourself, you have to consciously try and push it aside. And the way you do that is actually to focus instead on something positive. The problem with negative things is that they come up and they tend to dominate everything.
And usually at the wrong time.
But you just have to be very conscious when this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to immediately reinforce it with something very positive.
How do you do that though? If we're talking about self-love, how can I do that? How can I on-off switch? It's coming. Ooh, it's coming. Like it's a cloud coming. You see it. How do I turn that off?
Well, it's not something that you develop instantly. It's
right.
Something that's done through practice.
Okay.
It's kind of like meditation. You don't just get up one day and you're great at meditating. You have to constantly practice this, and over time it becomes easier and easier. So the more that you are conscious of this and the more you start pushing these negative thoughts away, the easier it becomes along the way. There's so much negative in the world, and there's so much that other people pass on to you too, in terms of people being mean, but you have to find the things about you that you really like. Things like you may be great at, I don't know, maybe speaking. Maybe you may be great at, or if you look at your physical features, I'm sure there are things about you that you like. You may like the way your face looks. You may like the way your fingers shape, stuff like that. But be aware of those things. Also, too, I want to. This is very important, actually. The definition of attractive, and I'm saying attractive because most people that have issues with with self-love, it's usually a physical flaw. That's the problem. But we have to be aware that beauty today is basically what society says it is. Not so long ago, society said a big voluptuous woman was beautiful. Today, it's not. It's like a skinny, anorexic type person, right? But the point I'm making is that society gets this wrong all the time. So, don't be so inclined to be okay, society say I have to be slim, because that changes all the time. What is beauty, really? So what society considers beautiful today may not be what it considers, beautiful tomorrow. The fact that we're allowing society to typecast us into, this skinny figure being attractive. I don't know if everybody subscribes to that. So sometimes we're allowing media and television to dictate, and I most features that people find attractive, I actually don't. A lot of men I know find, big boobs and big butt attractive. I don't. So it doesn't necessarily, so sometimes we're killing ourselves and beating up ourselves because we're oh, this is too big or breasts too small. And in most cases, a lot of guys don't care. Just find somebody that is into what you are.
What about you, Lanasha? What do you guys think about what he was talking about? And then within yourselves, is there anything that you do or say to yourself to get you out of that? I'm going to call it the black cloud, in the sense of self-doubting and, not feeling that you're good enough.
Absolutely. One of my biggest insecurities is I played tennis since I was 3 years old, and I've been doing ballet and tap since the age of like 4 or 5. And I've been doing both activities for some time, like years, for like about 5, 6 years. And tennis has been constant. Ballet, because you wear those really tight shoes. And I've just always been a tall girl and needing to constantly like get a bigger size. I've struggled with having ballerina toes, and they have corn on them. They are not pretty. As I said, it's one of my biggest insecurities, and also my hands are extremely rough. Like, people have told me they feel like sandpaper, and I try my best to take care of it. Like, I put on the lotion, I scrub my hands, and yeah, it works a little bit, but that's just how my hands are naturally. And so for me, it really took some time, because when I was younger, I was just given to the negative thought of like, yep, like, I don't feel pretty enough. Like, my hands, I don't want to hold anyone's hands because I feel uncomfortable doing that. I feel uncomfortable wearing sandals outside. And that held me back, right? And so now that I'm more older, more aware of that negative thought and that negative mindset, I have to actively and constantly think about what is something that I do love about myself, or what is something that I am attracted to about myself, right? Whether it's my face, I'm a pretty girl, whether it's the way that I'm shaped, maybe it's like a birthmark that I might have on the side of my tummy, that I admire because it looks like a rose, and some people think it's a tattoo when I don't actually have any tattoos, and so like it's a constant battle. And honestly, like, now where I'm at, it's my hands and my toes don't define Lenarsha Prescott. They don't define like who I am as a person. So can I allow that to overcome or overtake like future relationships or future friendships, or no, like, I can't do that, right? Yeah, it's been a long journey. It's still a process, of course, but
Yeah.
I'm here, right? And again, as Nigel has said, it's a active thing that you have to work on your mindset, where you find other things attractive about you. I know that I have a great personality. I know that I attract people. So, hey, I look to that more so than worrying about these things.
I hear that. What about you, Janae?
So, I was very confident up to like since I was born till COVID happened, and that's the era that put me in sort of a funk, because that's the time where influencers literally made their money. Like, Instagram was really popping, like TikTok was really like hype, like it was really viral, because you see people, beautiful people, like every day scrolling, and that's all you could do during COVID. And then you realize that, wow, you started looking at yourself and you started comparing yourself with these influencers, these people that you find on social media. And you're like, oh, I want to be like that person. And then you're trying all these methods to try and like be similar, but it's not working. And then after like the end of COVID, I realized that like some people were like photoshopping themselves. That's the time I did not really know about photoshopping and stuff like that, and Facetune, and like altering like your face, your bodies, like that really put me in a funk, because I did not know that they were doing that, like using these apps. Well, to be like fair, like some of them aren't doing it, but a majority of them were doing this, like utilizing these apps without like telling their followers, their audience. And that's something that we have to really speak about, because I remember like these workout influencers, these influencers that goes to the gym, like these influencers that have a big butt, like some of them, the audience are really like exposing them for having a BBL, and that's something that really like mess with the minds of like their audiences, because as a young person, it's gonna make them do drastic changes to themselves to try and look like the influencers. So that's one thing that I can mention. Another thing is like I had a scar on my stomach due to a surgery I did like at a young age, a hernia surgery. So it was preventing me from wearing like crop tops and stuff like that. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago when my friend was like, I can barely see your scar. Why are you hiding? Like literally after she said that, I started wearing crop tops even more because I realized that I'm so hyper focused on, I would say, like the negative part of my body that is preventing me from doing something that I really wanted to do, like wearing crop tops. So after she said that, pointed that out, I started to realize that it's me who's preventing myself from not allowing to wear that certain type of shirt. It's me and only me.
I love that they said that because it falls into what you was talking about. What kind of boundaries are you talking about? Boundaries that you have for yourself or boundaries that you have towards others? I think it's amazing that we need to definitely talk about, because of social media and all the way that things are, fake has become the new real. And via COVID, that became prevalent on everybody doing, making this and making everybody look so great. For example, you go onto people's social medias and the couple looks so wonderful. Then you hear a year later there's a divorce and everybody's like, but everything was so loving, so great, so this, so that. How did that happen? So when you say boundaries, Nigel, can you explain this about the fake is the new real and the type of boundaries people can have within themselves and others?
I want to say this first, right? In my business, I work with a lot of actors and models, and a lot of times, like, we in the outside looking in, we think that these are people that are so beautiful and they're so secure and they don't have the same issues that we have. I can tell you this, especially models, they have nothing but insecurity issues about their bodies.
All day, every day.
And these are the people that we look up to and we say, oh my God, they're so beautiful. If you should hear them talk about their bodies and the things that they don't like about it, it's unbelievable. But yet, these are the people we look up to. So the point I'm making is that everybody has serious insecurities about some part of their body. None of us are perfect. And we're beating up ourselves about like minute things, like something like what Lanasha said, like, for example, her hand being a little bit rough. That's like so insignificant. But that's how we are as human beings. Like, for example, the older I get, the more I start getting age spots, right? Now, when I was younger, I had a problem with being freckled. I didn't like it one bit, right? When I got older, I started getting so as I got older, I accept my freckles, and that was perfectly fine. Then later on I start getting these little darker age spots, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. But these are the things that what I had to do was constantly remind myself that, hey, this is just the way it is. And I must admit that I don't have any major insecurity issues, because I've dealt with them. And but every once in a while, you do have, like, I wish I was a better speaker. It's not like I'm very insecure about it, but I do wish that I was. Now, in terms of boundaries, right now, I'm not sure that boundaries is the right term when it comes to, like, self-love. Mm-hmm. Because
there should be no boundaries if there's self-love, right?
Right, that's the point. I don't think that when it comes to yourself, you should have any. I think the important thing is to identify what your insecurities are and set about pushing that negative thought away.
Okay.
Just realize that as insecure as you are right now, and no matter what it is that you are downing yourself for, that there's so many more beautiful qualities about you. Kind of like what Lanasha says, like, but Lanasha is a very slim, beautiful woman, right? So when we see Lanasha, that's what we see. We don't see, whatever insecurities she's suffering. The same thing with Janae. She's like a very beautiful girl.
First thing I said there.
You see that, so a lot of these like self-imposed, doubts that we have, the world doesn't see us like that,
Right.
And it's kind of like what you say, Janae, like, with your scar, like to you, it's a big deal. To others, it's like, what? What scar?
Interesting.
It's kind of cold.
My thing on all of this is me thinking of my own insecurities. And I think there's a lot of pointing when we were talking about before, how you said in the mirror, hey, you're looking good today. You know what I mean? You give yourself that self-encouragement. And that same episode, I was talking about, pointing the finger at ourselves and everything else. I think I need to stop pointing. I think I need to start more giving myself a little bit more hug and everything else. And just doing it for me, to me. It could be physically actually giving myself the hug, because I've done before and it's really nice feeling. Or also at the same time looking at myself in the mirror and just saying, this is me. And if I can't like me, I can't expect no one else to.
And it's very important to recognize that our flaws are very much a part of what makes us human, right? And this perfection that we're seeking, which is one of the reasons why I have a problem with the word perfection, because it doesn't exist, and everybody, how often do you see celebrities kill themselves because of depression, and you're like, this person had everything going on for them, how is that possible?
Yes.
The problem is that the thing to recognize is that all of us have issues, all of us have insecurities, and all of us have flaws, right? There's one thing you could do, however, like if you have, like, let's say you are a skinny person, right? You have skinny legs. Wear clothes that actually complement your body. In other words, if you have skinny legs, don't wear long shorts, baggy shorts. Wear, things that fit you a little better. If you're a bigger person, don't wear big prints. Wear, smaller prints.
It'll accentuate it.
If you're short, don't wear long shorts, because it makes you look like you're wearing a pants. Then wear a shorter shorts.
Right.
In other words, there are things that you can do. It's not like you're trying to hide your imperfections. You're just not amplifying them.
Gotcha.
So in dressing, just, be aware of those things. Don't focus on them, but also dress to complement your body type.
That is interesting. What do you think about that, Lanasha? What he was just saying, what I was mentioning about fake is the new real?
100% agree. It's so funny that you related to having skinny legs and then wearing a baggy pants. I actually went to H&M and, I'm seeing everybody wearing the baggy pants. Like, it's so cute on them. And I'm like, I want to get on that trend too. Buy the baggy pants, didn't try it on in the store, brought it home. And when I put it on, I was like, oh my goodness, my butt looks flatter. My calves look skinnier. I was like, yeah, no, this is going right back to the store. Like, I cannot wear things like this, no matter how much I adore it on other people. It just does not look good on me. Can't do it. So 100% hear you with the dressing the part in terms of your body type. I agree. And listen, there are some people out there that have the confidence, right? Who are thicker or who might be skinnier, and they are okay with wearing a really short skirt, or they are really okay with wearing a really long baggy pants. I really think it depends on each person's confidence and what is it that they feel comfortable in. Honestly, for me, may not be as comfortable. I dress my part. I dress how I like to see my body and see myself in, or what I feel most comfortable in.
The way you dress and the way you carry yourself has a lot to do with the way people perceive you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Who you are is what you attract.
So my simple point is that you love yourself. If you feel like that's the way you want to do it, then dress that way, right? But my advice to any woman or man would be, don't highlight your negative attributes, but wear clothing that complements your more positive attributes.
I get it. I understand it. I'm from that generation, so I understand exactly what he's saying. But in closing with this episode, I learned a lot. I learned self-love. You gotta love yourself first before you can love anybody else.
Every body type should be positive. Every body type should be attractive. Every body type is natural, it's normal. And love your body type the way that it is. That's my closing from here.
For more episodes, in-depth articles, exclusive insights on love and relationships, or to provide feedback and suggestions, please visit lovemisunderstood.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletters. Love Misunderstood podcast series was created by Nigel Kettle. This episode was hosted and produced by Nigel Kettle and Nicole Pacheco, with extended guests Lenarsha Prescott and Janae Days. Production assistant Celeste Rosario. Special thanks to everyone who submitted questions and comments. We value your input and feedback. Keep them coming. Love Misunderstood is a Kettle Media Concepts production.